Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Um, let's see. I tried something new this morning and I scheduled my live so that um, maybe people who didn't realize there was something cool going on this morning over here at my Facebook page can join us. So my name is Christina French, and I am a real avid textile recycling artist, activist, influencer, entrepreneur, and I have been running this 30-day series for this is our 25th day, so still a few days left. And I've been teaching all kinds of interesting, cool little projects you can do using used clothing as raw material to create new things, as well as just teaching about why it's important to recycle our used clothing and also what other people are doing with that material. So, good morning, Amy and Carolyn. Thanks for tuning in today. I can see that there's a lot of people joining, and thank you so much for tuning in from all across the world. There's a couple of fun things that I've kind of engaged you guys with over the last few weeks, and those are two things. One is if you tag your friend in the comments of this video and you're interested in, tag somebody who might be really interested in learning the techniques and little projects that we've been working on, or somebody who has interesting ideas to share on that subject matter. And then if you're interested, you can also send me an email or a direct message once you've tagged somebody, and I will send you a beautiful handmade screen print in the snail mail. And let's see, I have a stack of those to show you somewhere around here. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, here we go. So the reason why I send out screen prints is because I have a family business that I run with my sister called the Dolphin Studio, and the Dolphin Studio is actually on Facebook as well. And I'm just going to put a little link to the Dolphin so you guys can see it. It's a family-run business. My mom and dad founded it in 1970, and we screen print. Our kind of signature product is a calendar, which is pretty awesome. And in addition, I make these really cool, uplifting, affirming screen prints. This one's got a metallic ink to it, so it's a little hard to see it in the light, but it says choose your path. And then I have this one that says love, and I run this one a lot with different colors. This one's got a nice metallic gold background. And then this is one that my dad designed. Both my parents were pretty awesome, pretty well-known artists in their own right. So if you're interested in getting your hands on one of those cool prints, you can either purchase one at thedolphinstudio.com or for 20 bucks, or you can tag your friend in the comments and hit me up with your mailing address, and I'll pop one in the mail today. And today is, the other thing you can do is suggest a topic for what you would like to learn from me. Like, have you seen a technique that I use, or do you have a question about something that I might have touched upon not in great depth in a prior episode that you would like to learn more about? If so, pop me a message, either direct message me here on Facebook, or if you're on my email list, you can just hit reply to any email from us and it will come back to us. And you can give me shoot me your ideas and questions about future episodes. And if I use one of those suggestions, I will do the same. I'll send you a print in the mail. So a couple ways you can really participate. So today I am answering my lovely friend Joanne, who I believe is tuning in with us this morning. She is concerned about food pantries. I think in the email she sent, if I remember, if my recollection's serving me today, she was talking about her daughter and she are both active volunteers for their local food pantry. And one of the things that they've noticed is that people come to the food pantry often on foot and need to be able to carry groceries quite a distance. And plastic bags are banned, and they're also super weak and not that durable. So, you know, heavy canned goods or dry goods, rice, beans, that kind of thing, don't really, you know, the plastic bags aren't that great. So how can we come up with a quick and easy, durable way to carry groceries? And Joanne's idea was to think about using maybe a backpack style to make it easier to carry, which I totally agree. I am an avid backpack wearer. My pocketbook, my bag, whatever, I've always worn a backpack. It just symmetry. I don't know. I'm really into like yoga and balancing the sides of my body, and I feel like when you carry a bag on one side, you're often kind of throwing your whole alignment out of kilter. So this morning when I came into the studio, I was like, okay, I have this great idea. I saw a picture of this cool bag, and I should have taken a screenshot, but I don't remember where I saw it. And I have this cool sweatshirt. So this is a sweatshirt that my kids have outgrown, and I should have again taken a picture of it before I started cutting it up. But what I did was this is so there's the I did not cut anything of the sweatshirt other than the sleeves. So the sleeves are here. So the first thing I did was okay, let me back up a little bit. Sometimes I get going too quickly. I do have a little free little tutorial on in my shop that's how to make a bag out of a t-shirt. And the bags that are made out of t-shirts are super useful for things that are not heavy, like laundry or bags of chips, or I don't know, if you're making like knitting, something that's just like bulky but not heavy. So for like grocery store shopping bags, you need something that's not so stretchy, because t-shirts tend to, like, you can just keep stuffing things in there. They get very heavy. They get all, like, they don't hold a shape at all. And they become like cumbersome and awkward, and because there's such little amount of structure in that fabric, it's not really useful for carrying things far distances. So I thought, you know, we could use jeans, we could use something like that, kind of like less stretchy, kind of thicker, more durable weight of fabric. So I have this sweatshirt that my kids had outgrown, and it was just kind of kicking around. It's cute, right, with stars. And actually, they didn't outgrow it. They just really didn't like it. I like it. What I did is I turned the sweatshirt inside out, and I stitched across the bottom of the sweatshirt. So you can see this is the inside of the sweatshirt, and it's going to be a little hard to decipher because there's a few steps that I went ahead and did, but I sewed across the bottom with just a straight stitch on my sewing machine, just right here. This is like the ribbing across the bottom of the sweatshirt. So I don't know, 1/2 inch seam allowance. If I was really being like super durability minded, I probably would have run that through my serger, or maybe if you guys don't have sergers, you can just run a couple, maybe 3 straight stitches across the bottom, because it's going to have a lot of weight in it. I'm thinking about canned goods, heavy groceries, liquids, you know, that kind of stuff. So sew straight across. Okay, then I boxed the bottom. So can you see how there's a stitch right here? So what you do is you take the ribbing and you kind of flatten it out. So this is the stitch that came across the bottom of the sweatshirt, and I kind of lined that seam up with the side seam of the sweatshirt. So I made these triangles, and I'm going to fold it down where I stitched. That is the distance across the bottom where I stitched it, and you can see the seam there. And it's, you know, it's not the tidiest seam I've ever stitched, but it's functional. And I did the same thing on the other side. So I have these 2 kind of triangles. Now I could cut those off, but I wanted to be able to show you how that looked as I was doing it. And actually, if you cut them off, you kind of run the risk of having the seam that's holding there come apart, because again, this is going to be a lot of weight in the bag. So I'm going to leave those triangles. Okay, after I did that, then I came up here to the neck edge, and I came to the shoulders, and I stitched. So here's the neck edge. There's the label in the back. Okay, so I came down the shoulder here, and I kind of stitched a kind of a curved seam that came from the shoulder here, and then just down to the side seam. Okay, and cut off the sleeves. So here's the sleeve that I cut off, okay, and here's the sweatshirt. Then once I had those two seams stitched and I'd cut the sleeves off, I turned the bag right side out. Now it's a bag, it's not a sweatshirt anymore. And this is kind of what it looks like. I'm going to stand back so you can kind of see the whole thing. Okay, so you got the boxed bottom, and actually I'm going to put a few things in that. This is the front, so boxed bottom, shoulders, right? So this is, you can use the neck edge to load it. And then I have, here are my sleeves, right? So I have two of these sleeves, and I took the other sleeve and I cut it in half. So there's the inside of the sweatshirt, there's the outside, and there's the cuff edge, there's the shoulder seam. And I folded this in thirds in toward the middle, so kind of like this. And I don't measure a lot. It's unnecessary in this step, okay? So I just check in the comments, make sure if I'm going too fast, or if you guys run into questions as I'm going here, just pop a comment and I'll get to as many as I can. So I actually started from the cuff edge and I folded into thirds this way. Okay, so that's what it looked like. And then I made a strap. So I took that fold and I zigzag stitched the cut edge down, and then I top stitched all the way around, and I've still got this weird shape at the top here. Okay, and it's kind of like I stitched it a bunch of times, so it doesn't have as much stretch as it did before I stitched it, and it's kind of cushy because it's sweatshirt material. So I'm imagining not so uncomfortable to carry on your back with heavy weight in it. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to pin this weird edge. Wait, hold on. There it is. The weird edge. I'm going to pin it pointing toward the bottom of the bag. So I'm going to just pin this on now while we're talking. And the one thing I'm kind of thinking about as I'm doing this is that most backpacks have kind of like an adjustment you can make to make the straps longer or shorter, depending on the size of the person who's wearing the backpack. And this particular design kind of does not have that, but I bet you there's a way we could figure it out. So can you see how that's pinned? There's 3 pins. It's right. So this is the weird shoulder seam there, okay? And then this is going to come over this way, and this is starting to look kind of backpack-like, right? Can you see that? So then the bottom of this is going to come down to kind of like almost to the place where your box bottom. It might be good if you're doing this with another person. You might be wanting to kind of try it on and have them pin it where it feels comfortable on you, to just get the length right. So I'm going to put this on. I'm going to try not to stab myself with those pins. Okay, so that is feeling, I mean, it's one side, so it's kind of hard to say what it really feels like, but it feels comfortable. And then there's the back, right? So here's my opening, and I'll put the other strap on. Now, couple things. The opening is great when you're thinking about putting stuff in there, but obviously when you're carrying it, or if you want to take your backpack off and put it down, you want to have some kind of a closure, either a drawstring. You could put a drawstring through this little ribbed edge that's creating the neck edge on the sweatshirt. Okay, you could run like a piece of cording through there and just snip a hole and have it come out and have that cinched closed, which would be the simplest way to go. Kind of like those string backpacks that the kids were all carrying a few years ago. Maybe they still are, I don't know. Or you could also use the other sleeve. And excuse me one second, here are my scissors. Excuse me, I just have to show off my scissors. These are the nicest scissors I have ever owned, and I sell them in my shop, and they're made by hand. in England. If you're interested in learning more about my scissors, you can scroll back on my Facebook feed. I did a whole live session all about my scissors. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the other sleeve, and there's a seam that runs the inside of the sleeve, like it would be normally kind of under your arm. I'm going to just cut the sleeve open right next to that seam, and because I am a super anal retentive, oh my gosh, recycler, kind of need a 12-step program because sometimes it is okay to throw things out. I'm going to save the cuff because I make potholder rugs and I can use that little loop for a rug. Okay, so now I have this piece of fabric that is kind of this shape, right? I'm going to hold it back here again. So it's kind of got the wider top, narrower bottom. And I think that this is actually going to be a super perfect size if I fold it in half this way to make a little flap for the top of the backpack, right? So I'm gonna fold it in half. I'm probably gonna put some kind of cool edging on that. So that will kind of, and then, it'll need some kind of a closure, whether it's a button or maybe a zipper on the hole itself inside. But that is kind of the idea that I've got for addressing the food pantry needs for cool backpacks. They're not, I put this together really 20 minutes, and it's the first one. So it probably could be done more quickly, although, it's not finished. So, I mean, say it took 30 minutes to make, you could make 10 in a day, and hopefully the people who would be the recipients of those bags would be able to use them for lots of different things in their lives and be able to bring them with them to the food pantry when they go for loading up. So if anybody has that, I'm just going to check my comments here for a second and make sure that I have got any questions I can answer. Oh yeah, Carolyn is my dear friend, and she is really helping me out by saying there's a couple of really cool things. She's asking people if you're interested to hop on my email list. There are 2 events coming up that I'm really excited about that will be coming. Like, I think one of them is actually going to go live tomorrow. The bane of my existence, you guys, is technology. Okay, like I can do Facebook Lives, but embedding an auction page on my website is kind of like so far out of the realm of my understanding of how things work that it's been taking me quite a while. But there's something called a stitch along, and I don't know if you haven't heard about it. There's a big blog post that's publishing either later today or tomorrow all about that. And it's a collaborative project where the first one I've ever done just is actually in progress right now. And it's a collaborative project with myself, and there was over 30 women who joined me. We made squares so everybody made a square. Everybody bought a kit. They made a square with the materials provided in the kit. They sent their squares back to me. I collaged all these amazing, like, beautiful creations that people made with the kits into a gorgeous blanket. It's going to be auctioned, and the proceeds of the sale of that blanket will go to my local shelter for victims of domestic violence. And while people have just been like so overwhelmed, and the positive response has been just so encouraging that I'm already planning the next stitch along. So if you're interested in joining the fund for that and supporting the victims of domestic violence in need, please do hop over to my email list and get your name in there. And the other thing that's coming up next month is a Potholder Rug Course. So I was talking a little bit about potholder rugs with the loop that I had left over from the cuff loop. This is perfect raw material for potholder rugs. So if you're interested in learning more about those, you can scroll back in my feed and learn about like what potholder rugs are. And if you're interested in learning how to make them yourself, You can also hop on my email list, and I'll be sending emails about that as well. So, Lynn Liston, she has a weird thought. What if you left most or all of the sleeves attached and cut a hole on the inside and slip your arm in it? You can cut the sleeve shorter, but it's almost like a backpack shrug. That is a really interesting idea, Lynn. I think that might be a really cool solution, actually, worth a try. If you have a chance and you have any piece of clothing around that might be suitable, I'd love to see how that would come out. The only thing I'm thinking, I'm kind of being devil's advocate right now, is the one thing I love about backpacks is that the weight is kind of evenly distributed, right? Like it's on your shoulders, but it's resting on your back, and it can even be kind of resting on your bum. And if you had it on your sleeves, you just would want to make sure that it was comfortable. And it would just be something that I think would be really definitely worth a try. And you know, you might have to mess around with it a little bit. You know how some of those backpacks have like this kind of thing that joins the straps in front, and that kind of just that little strap, that little connector that joins your two backpack straps in front, really adds a level of comfort that is quite notable. It's kind of interesting. So good idea. Let's try that out. Welcome, Amy Norris, Carolyn's friend. Welcome. So I'm really glad you stopped in too. And I just wanted to show you, this is one of the squares that I did for the stitch along. The other thing I neglected to mention about the stitch along, which is kind of like maybe one of the coolest parts, is that when the kits all go out on the same day, people receive their kits, and then we actually have live in person with me tutorial stitching sewing circles on Zoom where we make the squares together. So questions might arise, and there's a lot of kind of camaraderie and friendships that develop, and it's all done with the idea that we're serving mostly women. I mean, most people who are survivors of domestic violence are women, although that is not exclusive. So I don't want to leave anyone out of the mix, but it's just a really nurturing, lovely, fun way to show how much good there is in the world and be part of it. So if you're interested in the next stitch along, it's coming up quick. So hop on my email list. So I'm really now super intrigued by this little kind of food carrying backpack that I'm going to finish. It might take me a little bit, but I feel like it's kind of a really fun and quick project that could have a really positive impact for people in need. So Joanne, if you're here with me today, I just want to say thank you so much for that really great idea, and thank you also so much for doing the volunteer work that you are doing with your local food pantry. These days, you guys, these you know, our kind of the shift in our lifestyles has been nothing short of unforeseen, notable, and mostly kind of stop you in your tracks, kind of, oh my gosh, I can't do that, I can't do that. So to have these, there's so much, like that's what we see first, right? We see, holy crap, there's all these people unemployed. Oh my gosh, there's a huge uptick in domestic violence support need. There's a huge uptick in the need for food pantries and people needing food for their families. And while all of those things are quite, you know, it makes you pause, there's all these really great things happening too, which I think are really worth talking about. And I think that, you know, we're becoming more aware of our environmental impact. I'm sure you've all seen the photographs of places like, because of sorry, sometimes I can speak really clearly. Because there's been such a diminishing need or requirement or ability to fly places, our air quality on the whole planet has really improved. So if you go online and Google pictures of air quality during Corona time, you might find some images that I've seen. There's one, a picture of a city in India where, before coronavirus, there was just like smog, black, gray air, gray. You couldn't see. There was no view. And in today's world, with the air quality improvements, there's like this amazing, like breathtaking, and literally awesome mountain range that just kind of hugs the city, and it's just the whole vista is this breathtaking view that had been kind of not seen for I don't know how long. So um, it's really, really cool to see the positive changes coming about, and let's try to hold on to as many of those as we can as we go forward, and hopefully at some point get back to a, I don't even like to use the term back. Like we're not going back. We're going forward into a new paradigm with more awareness of our environment and nurturing of our fellow humans. And I feel like we have the ability to make this time a time that we look back on and see as a real shift toward all that is wonderful. So, speaking of that, um, you are wonderful. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. I really am so thankful for each of you to be here with me today. And I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow morning, live at 11, right here. If you don't catch me live, you can always watch the recordings on my